Oh, I don't want a lot for Christmas, but I'll tell you what I do want. Crimrose on the show. The holidays have come early. A Christmas miracle.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Vox and Jed Fight About It. And today we've got Crimrose on, as Vox has explained. Dude, I think this is the fourth time.
This is like the fourth time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yippee!
So who are you? This is your second time on, but who are you? What do you do?
Yo, what up? I'm Crimrose. I'm a non-binary Australian content creator who fucking hates time zones. But
Yeah.
I hate time zones, guys. That's gonna be my whole bit for this episode. I hate time zones.
Yeah,
The
Bucks,
whole bit.
You wanna
Okay.
explain what happened just now?
So we'll walk through it. So this is, to preface, this is like attempt 5 or 6 of trying to get Crim on the show, and I'm so happy we're sitting here recording because nothing could possibly go wrong now, right? But
I've taken all the safety precautions and everything, and I should be fine. Yippee!
But I was out today. I was out getting a few things that I needed around the house because it's the start of the month. I just got paid, so it's about that time to do a good store run, you know. And I was like speeding through the shopping aisles of just like, okay, I've got to get this and that and this, and I got to run home because it's already 3 and I need to be back by 5. Not that it's like that long of a drive. I was just like, I stopped and I voted on the way there and everything. So I just like, I didn't get a lot of I didn't get a lot done. Or I did get a lot done, but I didn't have a lot of time to get it done. And I was just like, I gotta make sure I'm back on time. I wouldn't want to be late. That would be embarrassing. You know, on the like, I was like more than usual stressing because I was like, I have to be home in time. I was like worried the car was gonna break down or some shit to keep me from recording this episode. But everything turned out fine, and I get home and I sit down at my desk, and me and Jed join the call, and we're just sitting here for like an hour of like, oh shit, I hope Crim's okay. I hope Crim's alright, because they're not here. Oh man. And then we, at about an hour deep, we're like, okay, we need to settle. We need to go and grab Abens, because I just was talking to Abens a few days ago, and Abens was like offhandedly like, oh yeah, if you ever need like a sub-in guest for the show, you know, I'm your man, I'll be there. And I was like, awesome, cool. And so I was like, I'll get a hold of Abens, I'll see if they can come on the show today, so we can at least have a guest today. And I get a hold of Abens, and I was like, hey, can you come on the show? Are you free today to come on the show? And they were like, yeah, when do you need me? And I was like, okay, that's awesome. That's great. Thanks for like immediately just like, yeah, sure. They were very gung-ho about it. And I was like, okay, that's the awkward thing. We either need you like right this very second or in like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Because
we
in
have to
2
stream.
hours we have to stream. Well, in 3 hours we have to stream, and then that's a 4-hour stream, and so we wouldn't be able till like 7 hours from now. And then Jed is gone all day tomorrow, or like all the reasonable times tomorrow, because he's got D&D, which like directly causes so many scheduling conflicts with the show. I thought it would be easy to shift the show over a couple days and make it work, but oh man, it's caused more problems than expected.
Imagine doing D&D. Imagine doing D&D.
I'm praying on their downfall so that the show will go a little smoother. Actively.
That's
like, I don't think I need
friends
to.
Do.
Yeah, I hope your fun and engagement with your other friends is just completely shattered to bits for the sake of this show. But no,
Yeah.
and then Crim
more important.
And then Crim DMs me, or DMs the group chat that we're in to record this, and is like, hey, it's me, Crim, the person who got fucked over by time zones. The literal second we hit call for Abens. And so Abens picks up, and we're like yelling and laughing about it. And Abens is like, what's going on, guys? What? And it's like, oh, yeah, Crim just got back to us. Sorry, we don't need you today. I'm really sorry to pull you aside like this. Thanks for being so gung-ho, though. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And he was really chill about it. So shout out Abens.
Yeah.
But we're here now.
We love Abens. We love Abens in this household. We appreciate Abens in this household.
Yeah, where we live
absolutely.
now. There is an episode of Vox and Jed Fight About It, and it does exist at this point in time.
I feel like this is like the third time I've pointed out that every episode starts with us explaining why this episode was a bitch to get done.
Oh my god. We should just rename
This
the
is a
podcast to
segment.
Vox and Jed Desperately Fight to Record This Goddamn Podcast.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how we
what
should
it's
You're
about.
fighting to keep the podcast afloat. You're fighting to keep the podcast afloat. That's what's going on. It's not you're fighting about the podcast. You're fighting to keep it
Yeah.
afloat. It's like
Yeah.
sitting in
Yeah.
this tiny little
Tooth
raft
and
floating out in the
nail.
ocean.
Yeah, we're scooping
But yeah.
buckets of water out of the fucking boat so that we don't sink.
Yeah,
But,
I blame daylight
Crimrose.
savings. I blame daylight savings.
That hasn't hit yet, has it?
That hasn't hit yet. I double checked
It
today.
hit for me. It hit for me.
Are you
Hit for you?
serious?
Yes,
weird.
it's been hit. It's been hit since I was in Melbourne for PAX Australia.
So you left
Okay.
before it hit and came back to the time having changed. That's gotta be odd.
Well, I think it started like I don't know exactly. I think it started in October, so it was like a couple days before I left when it started, and I had no idea originally. So I like landed in Melbourne, and I was like, "Oh, it's all so cool." And then I looked at my phone, and then I realized, oh, it was an hour ahead. I was like, "When is daylight savings?" And then I googled it, and I realized, oh, it was daylight savings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Daylight
hit
savings
here
kicked my
until-
ass.
Till the first Sunday of November. So like the day this episode comes out will be the day it changes.
Yeah. Daylight saving time like fucking kills me because I'm not in daylight savings time, so like any scheduling that happens just gets shifted around on me. So it's like, all right, we stream at 9 p.m. All right, normally that's 6 p.m. my time, but now it's 7 p.m. my time, and everything gets a little bit shifted over. So I need to be very like hawk-eyed about those things because I don't want to be late to things. But
Yeah.
enough about daylight savings and scheduling. What have you been up to? Other like since last time we had you on, what have you been doing?
Let's see. Finishing off console craft, helping Halo traumatize y'all with Herobrine, with WillowSMP for October. That was fun. I went to a convention. I've been plotting more lore for my character, and then also joining other SMPs with said character, or with other characters that I've like started making and stuff. So I've actually got a SMP that's like opening when the podcast finishes for today. So I'm like gonna go do that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna float along playing the block game. Bullying
Good
people.
time.
I hate that we're cutting into that time because we were talking about it. Me and you, Krim, the other day in a VC where you were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have to. Can we do it an hour earlier? Because I've kind of got an event that I forgot about." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And so now I feel bad because we're at the original time that we had posited, and so I was like, "Oh man, that sucks."
I mean, it's okay because it's all dependent on if Ellie was gonna be there today, and I don't know if Ellie's gonna be there today. So if Ellie's not there today, then it does not matter to me.
That's fair.
You're having a me moment where it's like if Vox isn't there, and I think I'll pass for now.
Our characters are like, because this is like a zombie apocalypse world after like a nuke's gone off, and our characters like used to know each other before said nuke went off. So like, and the first thing they want to do after the nuke went off is kind of find each other. So like,
right.
And my character on this said server is not very much of a fighter. They like have a bat and some food and a crowbar, and that's it. They don't have like a gun or anything like that.
Big crowbar fan, yeah. But no, yeah, very codependent characters. I love doing that kind of stuff, unless the other person you're with is just like horrid at scheduling, in which case it's a nightmare. But you find somebody that matches your times. I'm calling you out, Jed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's good with Ellie because Ellie's like only, especially with daylight savings, Ellie's only like 3 hours ahead of me. So like it's really easy to like plan time zone wise and stuff because it's just +3. Whereas fucking America's like -17, -16, all that kind of stuff, and it's just so complicated.
Yeah, time zones are fucky. But I guess we'll get back into the questions. Vox called me out earlier because I have this list of guest questions, and I think I actually started implementing them around your first episode. Where I had written out like a list of I think it's give or take like 10 questions of just
Right. Just
pretty
very
good
generic
overall
stuff.
guess questions. And Vox gets the more serious, interesting questions, while I get the more like, how did you begin streaming? Why why did you continue streaming after a while? And I do all the basic things. But Vox is like, you did get new questions, right? Because we already asked those questions. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, we did kind of already go through that little.
Yeah.
See, and this is exactly why. Because, like, I get that from an outside perspective, it might seem like, oh, well, that's kind of rude that Vox gets all the cool, fun questions to himself. But this is exactly why. Because I brought it up to Jed. I was going to bring it up to Jed last night, but I forgot. And I remembered when I got to bed, and I was like, oh, I should warn Jed that he should write new guest questions. He'll remember. But every week we sit down, I go, all right, you got your topics list together? And Jed's like, oh shit, I don't have anything this week. Oh no, every time. So it's if I want interesting questions asked on the show, I gotta ask them. You know?
Yeah, I think I do a decent job with topics. I struggle with questions. I'm bad with questionnaires.
You're getting better about your topic lists. You're getting better at your topics lists, I think. But picking up where we left off, Crim, because you mentioned it and I completely forgot about it. It's something we haven't talked about on the show since I think a couple episodes after yours. Console craft. Oh man, console craft. Can you believe it's been like nearly 6 months since console craft? We're coming up on it real fast.
That's absurd.
Like as of New Year, it'll be like 6 months since console craft. Yeah. Well, since it started, anyway.
Navigating my way to the console craft Discord. There's no fucking way.
Holy shit. It was in June, right? And so, yeah, no, we're coming up on that, like end of December.
Oh my god, it literally was. It literally was because VidCon was fucking. Oh, that's crazy.
That is crazy. That's
We're
absolutely
coping
wild.
and seething and molding about the passage of time right now, dude. It's wild.
Yeah,
for real. I've been like reminiscing more console craft wise because dear friends Sabush and Bush decided to send me. I asked him to send me the saves, the world downloads for console craft, so I could because I've got cinematic plans for different characters for like my character and stuff, and just being able to walk through different time periods of console craft, like we have when everything was void and corrupted and stuff like that, and then we have other options where there's even week 2 where Fallen Kingdom exists and stuff like that, and then everything before we decided to eat the world away, and it's really cool to go through and see how much progress can actually be made in X amount of time, you know?
Yeah.
No, yeah, for real. It's so interesting watching the world evolve. You're still in the Console Craft Discord though, right? They have those posted up there, don't they?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Just making Bush do extra work.
Just lazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I do that sometimes.
No, that's valid. That's valid. You know,
sometimes I'll just be like, "Yeah, Vox, get it for me. Come on."
Well, because I'm like a data hourder is my problem of just I have everything, dude. I've got all of my stream assets and all of almost all of Jed's stream assets saved in a backup, and then I have backups of every stream layout I've ever used in the past 3 years. Just waiting.
Vox is a data hoarder, even though that I have, I think, 5 times more storage than he does at this point in time.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of that stuff on external drives and flash drives and things like that, where it's oh yeah, this has got a backup of this is all my 2021 stuff, and then here's all my 2022 stuff and things like that, you know.
Yeah, when we move in, I'm giving you some of these drives just to have with it.
Please don't give me more
really
USB drives. I've filled so many.
They are USB. They're
okay.
They're hard. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I've filled so many thumb drives and I have so many more. I think I have 40 of them. I don't know if the statute of limitations is up on this, but our local office supply store used to carry little 3-packs of them that could fit in your pocket. And I had a friend who would just steal them every time. Just grab a pack. And he had no use for them, so he'd just give them to me. And so I have 1 billion thumb drives, and it's it's a multi-million-dollar corporation. I don't care. But I just have no use for all of them. I use them for boot drives and stuff, for reinstalling Windows when I need to, just at an emergency, and backing up files. They're nice for that.
Office Max, man. They need that.
It was Staples, actually.
Oh, it's Staples? Okay.
It's I fucking hate Staples, dude. They understaff and they underpay.
Will be fine.
Yeah, Shaq needs to see to that. I don't know, man. But Oh, right. What I was saying though, picking up where we left off with ConsoleCraft, picking up where we left off last time with ConsoleCraft. Last time we had you on was, I believe, the start of week 4 of ConsoleCraft, and we were talking about you and Ellie and a couple others just fully taking over for Bush in that last week because of VidCon. And like lore managing and world managing and server managing and whatnot. And you were talking about how you think it'll go over well, and you weren't really sure about it, but like you're certain you could handle it, you know. How do you feel about how it went down, like as a retrospective thing that last week?
I think it went down pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite like whole aspects was like reading those like little treasure hunt things to go find those gold blocks, so you guys could like seal Herobrine away permanently. That was like one of the cool things. And then my friend had made us like that custom resource pack that turned all of the cut copper blocks into like the what's it called, the missing texture stuff. That was also that was really cool. I think it was like a really great example of like what it takes to like kind of run this kind of thing. And as I've kind of come more into Willow, it's been like I'm kind of on the storyline writing for like certain things. Like I can kind of control the story from behind the scenes for a little bit of things. Like we're introducing some old friends soon that you may or may not have seen through like different streams and stuff. A really nice cult is back. From a certain Vox was gonna know this. The cult is back from last season and also the season before. So and Dog's kind of in charge of like writing that story, and I've just been kind of like being a little tibbet and bullying the shit out of them in character because they tell me little informations about Doc's relationship with the cult, and then I turn that into a weapon to be like, hey, I'm here now to bully you about this stuff, kind of thing.
Fantastic.
And it's so funny because we type in like the lore brain rot chat in the Willow Discord, and Doc mentions how much he wants to kill this cultist, and I'm always like, why? I'm just here having fun. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, that's a good time. That's how I kind of played Jed when he was here right out of just like what is everybody's deal with me, man? I'm just hanging out.
Yeah. I think characters like that are really fun.
Did you notice you've been murdered less now that you're not here, Brian?
Yeah, I mean I kind of expected that. Otherwise I might have actually started to take it personally to a degree. So I'm glad that did hold up.
To be fair, every single little guy I came over as, you immediately assumed was gonna murder you. It's
so funny because it's like, oh yeah, a crow, a ferret, like and various other like little creatures just came into our home and silently killed Jed without a word. It was amazing.
And like
what a
nobody
wonderful
else
time
really
that was.
acknowledged it or cared. Like nobody else in Schematica was like, dude, what the fuck? No, the crow didn't. The crow was pretty chill.
Oh no, I don't think the crow did. You're right, but like still, the vast assortment of like your little toy box of characters that you'd bring out every now and again, and just like, all right, how's this one gonna murder Jed? How are we gonna work that in?
How could I possibly kill Jed in any form that I'm in? But oh man. Speaking of that, in that last week of ConsoleCraft, that was your first time moderating for anything in Willow Media, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you're a full-on moderator, aren't you?
I'm Enzo's right-hand person.
Yeah, a very important key member of staff now.
I'm just kind of chilling and playing the video game. I helped with Willow's release. I helped make the mod pack. We've still got like a bunch of mods we still need to add to said mod pack. I helped Ellie make like the announcement stuff, got the list together and all that kind of thing. Yeah, it was definitely like more than I was expecting to do for Willow.
Right.
Because I literally just became a moderator in ConsoleCraft, and then it was basically like another earner and stuff like that, even though I wasn't. Like, for a period of time, I think in the regular Willow Discord, I think I had the earner role for like a good 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I think I had saw that.
But speaking of ConsoleCraft, going back for just a moment, in that last week, now that you're doing all this Willow stuff and you've become like far more involved staff side with Willow, is there anything that like with that added few months of experience that you would go back and like, oh, I kind of regret doing that way, or I've had to build on like X thing that I did then that like I have to keep doing now. Like, do you have any like regrets or things you would change if you could do it again now?
I don't really have any regrets about like last week of console craft per se, but I think a lot of like, funnily enough, a lot of the staff members were like, "Why is Herobrine such like a prominent thing during the season of Willow and stuff like that?" And I was like, "You took a bunch of people, you gave them trauma about a guy, and then you added them to another world." Still giving them their memories of said trauma. I think, I think it's gonna like they're gonna bring it up a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
not
think
to
it's
get
just gonna be brought up.
I understand with the Herobrine stuff. I complain about it occasionally, not like complain in earnest. I'm just like, oh man, the fucking Herobrine plot again. I am seething about the potential of more Herobrine things in the future. However, it's always good
And
fun. I'm just my
Yeah.
sore point for it mostly like comes from a place of like, oh man, with like Eggman a non-option and like, Herobrine going away and the like rule in place of like, all right, let's try to keep the pop culture stuff to a minimum. I'm really excited to see firsthand what like a Willow original big bad looks like,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, because we have like the cult and stuff coming like out of the shadows kind of thing. So we've got like Dark, Abeds, and Gyro going on like hunting missions and stuff like that. And we've got the person who was controlling Dark, the heiress, who's been like set free, and like they've been like she's been like controlling a bunch of people. She happens to be Dark's mom in law. It's like a whole thing. Um but yeah, it's like kind of just introducing old stuff and new stuff at the exact same time, I think. Because
Right,
one of
right.
the plots we never really got to do during like Willow season 2 that not entirely sure if the staff wants to touch up on is the wish shards.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one
That
time
kind of just
when we
like
were
got
all
really big set up and then just never paid off really. So I'm excited to see where
well
that
yeah,
goes, if anywhere.
because I was flying around the server. I was flying around Willow season 2 as the server was ending because I was getting schematics and stuff, and I was seeing all of these like cool structures and builds and stuff, and I was like, this could be really cool. And I like started taking notes. So like if we do bring back like the wish shards, I may have an idea or two. But
Nice, nice.
like I think we could finally bring that back because it was really cool because in the context of the moment, the reason why the wish became wish shards is because my canonical child Woolen was trying to wish me to have my memories back, and then
Right,
RNG
right.
went nuh and sliced their head off.
Huh.
Is that
And
why
You
then
we
know, I
haven't
don't
seen
know
much of
anything
Willem?
about Willow season 2 story.
I mean, we need to like get the recap out and post the recap on the wiki and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I've
Oh
started
gosh, the
doing that.
wiki.
Yeah, the wiki. We love the wiki.
Let's talk about
I've
the wiki
started
for a
That's
doing
minute.
that.
Fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
How's work on the wiki going?
Yeah, pretty good. I've been kind of bouncing around between what I've been working on. Like I did console craft for a little bit there. Like I sent one's message that they sent to me that I then added to the lore document. And then I
Oh,
put
so
that
I
on the
did write
wiki.
that. Okay.
You did. You did
Because
write
you were
it
like,
because
oh yeah, I put your
how
lore
like
recap up on the thing, and I was just like, oh good, you've saved me having to write out the explanation for the time travel stuff again. Turns out I did write it.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I
it was
think.
funny. Because
Mhm.
I think I was in VC with like Saki and stuff, and like everyone was reading it, and then one person was like, "You can tell Voxel has like typed this the way like it's being typed. Like you could literally hear Voxel like speaking. And it was the funniest thing ever to hear. Because I was like, yeah, you're not wrong.
I can't
Well, it
remember
was
because
such a rehearsed thing at that point because we had
Yeah.
the first time we talked about it was before we even did the time travel thing initially, and we pitched it at Bush together, and I did most of the speaking for that. And so we explained it to Bush, and then we did it, and then Bush was like, "Hey, can you re-explain this to me? I'm not sure I get it, and this is a much larger thing than I thought it was going to be." And so I explained it to Bush a second
Much
time.
larger.
Yeah, and then I had to explain it to
Just
Dark
a
and
little
Bush
bit.
when we stitched the whole world together with it, just to make sure that all
Yeah.
worked again. So I've given like 7 people a briefing on this, and so I have a very detailed like inner like script to work from for that.
If I remember correctly, though, I think I was actually the one who had wrote that, and then Vox had touched it up.
No, I
I
wrote the
think
one I sent
that
to Crim.
specific one. Oh, okay. There
You
was
had
one
to
of these
send one to
times that I
Enzo
did
at some
this.
point, I think.
Right,
Was what it
right,
was.
yeah. Yeah,
But
Vox says most of the writing here because I'd struggle with it.
yeah, may I
Yeah.
point you to Monday's stream where Halo as Herobrine was fixing a lot of your typos. I sensed it coming. I sensed it coming when I allowed you. I was like, okay, Jed can write it. Jed can write the contract. It's Jed's deal with Herobrine. Normally I would, just for clarity's sake, because I'm certain that, like, Jed will manage to leave a loophole. Like, both of us are very susceptible to leaving loopholes accidentally, but, like, Jed especially. And so I was like, okay, I'll write it. Or I'll let Jed write it, though, because I think it would be funnier, primarily, to just, like, let Jed write the document. And, because he's worse at, like, the legal speak than I am. And so I was like, that'd be funny. And 20 minutes of fixing typos, apparently. We were talking about, like, pigs and shit. It was
Really?
great. Yeah,
Yeah, we were
it was a
talking
lot.
about fuck-ass
God.
pigs that we were looking at, and like French
But
literature and
it was
things
a whole
like that.
thing, and the long story short of it is just that, like, I end up doing most of the writing on the basis that, like, either I write it or I let Jed write it, and then Jed will inevitably send it to me of his own volition and go, hey, does this look good? And it's like, I'm either gonna have to write it or, like, revise it, So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm pretty good at writing. Like I'm very good at my college papers. My issue is that I can't do fictional writing very well, or like, and I don't twist a narrative very good. I just kind of like I say something, and if what I'm saying is there, then great. If it's not, whatever.
which is great to
I
have
kind of don't
around,
worry about
because
it.
Jed's not very good at biasing narratives at all to, like, elicit emotion. He's very
Mhm.
good at neutral recappings, and so I'm certain I'm gonna want to have Jed in call. I think, aren't we expected to write most of our own wiki stuff, character for character?
I
Yep.
believe so.
Okay, so
Yes.
when we write those, when me and Jed inevitably get around to those, and our lore recap thread, because I don't think we've posted a single lore recap all season. And
I
Dark
did
has been, like,
one right
pinging
at the
and
beginning.
begging in the
Doc,
announcement channel, just
Doc
please
has
write your
been
recaps. Please.
Doc has been begging because like we have a list of 10 people we want to add, and then Enzo was like to Doc, if you get everyone to do their recaps from the start of the season to now, we'll add 2 more people to that list.
Oh, cool. Awesome. We'll probably end up getting that done this weekend. I had some time last week set aside for wiki writing, and I never got around to it because I completely forgot about it in my calendar. But I'm probably going to get to that this weekend, so look forward to that.
Yippee!
But no, yeah, how is managing the wiki and getting to write all this stuff? How's that going for you?
I mean, I linked console craft in the chat, so if you want to go
Right.
take a peek of what I've done for that so far.
Yeah, we'll take a look after. We'll put it
I'll
in the
take a
description for
glance. I'll
anybody
take a glance.
who's
I
watching. Well, Vox
Yeah, we'll
takes a
link to the
glance
Willow
though.
wiki.
Like,
Yeah, well,
um,
because I think this is like I don't really necessarily take charge of the wiki. It's just there's been a lot of people on the wiki at the there's been a lot of people doing the wiki and everything like that. So I've just been kind of getting on that little train board to like do the wiki and stuff like that. And I just kind of popped in the admin chat. I was like, oh well, we have this like entire document of lore recaps. What if I just like write up the ones for the server? Season 1 is a fever dream. I'm not touching. I'm blaming Dark or Bush for that one. Those two can do that one. I'm not
Yeah.
touching season 1. That was I wasn't there, and I know it was an interesting situation, so they can do that recap. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it, definitely. Like I've finally finished writing a portion of Arena's backstory that I feel comfortable like sharing, like, and people won't
nice.
get too many spoilers on their life and stuff like that. And it's like 6
Mhm.
paragraphs, 7 paragraphs of information about this character. And I've
Oh,
just kind
wow.
of sat there being like, I wrote this at 2 a.m. How did I write this at 2 a.m.?
Christ. The thing about our characters is that our characters are so like future planned that it's more of like we have a lot of lore planned and lore that is going to happen. However, none of it has, so our lore amounts to just like, yeah, we time traveled.
Well,
And that
the
was
thing about
about
it
it.
is the thing about it is when it comes to lore, I'm a big fan of big key moments. I think that the best way to do a character is to do a character that is like for such a long-term project of like I'm in a technicality going to be playing this character for 8 hours a week every week on stream, and
Mhm.
so like I need to build a character that I understand very deeply, and I need to build a character that like is in some way very similar to myself. And then mostly just kind of being myself through the character's through the character's mouth more than anything else. But I believe in little moments. I believe in little moments and big moments of there's at least once or twice a stream where you can really feel a character pull through, and I think that helps sell the other 3.5 hours.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
some people like
and then
so
big
talented.
moments. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
like big moments where it's like I need to. All right, we've got like the time travel plot. We need to act our asses off for the 2 hours that's gonna take to pull, and then we can be done with it. And some
Yeah.
people are
And
way
then
better
you
at
just
this
go
than me.
back to building your industrial tower.
Yeah, I love the amount of people on the server who are just so acting forward and so like in character at all times. It's like I admire that skill a whole hell of a lot. I could never manage it.
Yeah, Vox and I are so like we really have to pull through for serious lore moments to do it, to the point where now I think both of our characters have just kind of leaned into being kind of a shit, like not a shithead, but just like a hanging out and not super serious at any point. Because like in console craft, I was watching through some of the footage and we really did try to be really serious in some points, and it would always fall short.
Because that was 2 hours a day, 3 times a week. So it was much shorter
Yeah.
sessions, and because it was only for a month, we had to get all those big and little moments in insanely like close bursts together. So it ended up with being a lot of like there would be a big and a little moment per session.
Yeah. But like even then we would really struggle with it, and that's how we would get things like fucking Jed eats gravel in canon, is just because Vox or I just like can't fucking help ourselves for one moment to like, okay, this bit's funny, I'm gonna say it.
Is it
Gosh.
canonical that we stayed at a lantern for 40 minutes?
Yeah, that's canonical, I guess.
I think that was.
I
I
mean,
think most of the action of that, I'd argue, is out of character, but wasn't canon. But I would say that our characters did in fact do that. We did just sit at a lantern
Yeah.
for a while.
That does kind of seem like something we would do. Like Hemo stops by, pays a visit, sees a lantern, and is like, cease conversation, lantern.
Lantern
Yeah.
time.
Like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. It was great. I loved how I kept switching between which lantern it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just swapping out the lanterns was fun. No, that was a really good moment.
Also-
I enjoyed doing that a lot.
The original tweet that I quote tweeted, because obviously I have the Twitter access, and the original tweet, because I said to like you guys, I was like, if anyone tweets the word lantern, I will quote tweet the word lantern and say lantern, and then attach a screenshot with my own account for like reference and stuff. And then I think the original tweet was from Jake, and it was spelled incorrectly.
Lantern,
And it was the funniest thing ever. It was the funniest thing ever. And it's also kind of like silly because I was talking to Bush and stuff about this, and it's like Lantern was like the whole Lantern thing was kind of like a big thing back in like season 1 and season 2 of like Willow, because there was this whole guy that was made out of like rose quartz and has a lantern on top of his head called Lantern Man, and he was like he's like the big god person that like the cult kind of like worships and stuff like that. So it was really funny to see you guys just sitting there staring at a lantern.
Did we
knowing
completely do a foreshadowing unintentionally?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think Lantern Man will come back, but like, kind of foreshadowing that the cult's gonna be here is like, I feel like we could have always had that.
Group of people obsessed with Lantern on the WillowSMP.
We accidentally do this more times than I think anybody could expect.
I think it's just like a serendipity of thought of like it just happens to mentally align, where it's just like, two people have the same idea. I think it's called like parallel thinking, I think is what it is, where two people have the same idea around the same time or even at different times, but like get there their own way. And I think or executed on it their own way. And I think it's a fun thing to see happen on servers like this, of like, because that's a happy accident right there, Oh
yeah,
absolutely. But no, yeah.
It's really interesting actually, because I love Willow, because I love being able to see everyone's like stories play out how they want it to, like little cinematic ideas I've been receiving and stuff like that. Like I have a bunch of friends on Willow, like Kaz and Jamie and such, who use my DMs as like a notepad essentially, and just come into my DMs and be like, "Hello, Crim, can I yap to you about lore?" And being able to like hear and listen to all of these like intricate stories and everything that's gonna happen between the relationship between characters and all that kind of stuff is like so nice. I think I love like that people get to be able to tell a story through the server, and I love it. It's more lore focused than like season 2 and stuff, 100%. But I feel like it's like the happy medium of more lore focused, but also if you want to just go on the server and chill for a couple hours, you definitely can do that. Build a
Absolutely.
giant
Yeah.
industrial town with your friends. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a lot
I
of
don't know who
fun.
would have done that, but you know.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of fun
I don't know. That's
because
crazy.
it's particularly a lot of fun though because it's like me and Jed like joke a lot about just like, oh, we're B plot. The A plot
Yeah.
is big and brooding and serious and angsty, and we're like the comedic B plot that they cut to every now and again because it's like, oh shit, we gotta like keep audiences interested. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there's this middle, this angsty ass scene, and then you just cut to two dudes just fishing on a dock next to this weird industrial ass building, just talking
Yeah.
about the most randomest shit ever. It's the greatest thing.
It's
And then
I
they'll
love
have
it.
weird like
Go ahead.
moments where it's like they'll overlap a little bit, and it's like those episodes where Doofenshmirtz meets like the main characters in Phineas and Ferb,
Oh
the
yeah.
namesake of the show, and it's like this is weird having these collect together, and
Yeah,
they're
it
so
almost
like
feels like an
wildly
odd-
different.
Well, because like I think because I was building to like a larger point about how like because we joke about being the B plot, but really we're probably closer to the C or D or E plot in that like
Yeah.
there are like 6 consecutive little pocket stories happening at any given time on Willow, and I love that. Where like
Yeah, we're
oh,
trying
there's
to centralize it, I think, at the moment, because like we want to keep it like easy to recap and all that kind of stuff, but it's like all the mini subplots that lead to like the main plot of like this is the big bad. Like for example, everyone had their subplots. Like Doc was dealing with the heiress, I was dealing with memory issues, you guys were dealing with Herobrine and Jed being controlled and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the
right.
day, it was all led up to this like one big main plot, which I think I really liked. Because we had like a main idea, and then we had like a bunch of subplots with little like side stories, kind of thing. And it's like it's really interesting to see actually, because it's like, what have they been up to? Like, for example, what have the lovely robot and rat been up to while the world's been like ending over in the corner over here? Oh, they're fishing. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, because that's how
Chill.
it feels to me. That's how it feels to me a lot of the times. Is very like MCU-ish of just like, oh yeah, I've kept up with, the entire I've watched all the Thor movies. Jesus Christ. I've watched all the Thor movies, and that technically the next thing in line for Thor's plot is Avengers. So I'll watch the next Avengers movie and then I'll go back to watching
You
the
have
Thor
all
movie.
the
And
Avengers
so
movies.
you just sort of link in of just like, okay, I've been keeping up with the plot of what's happening with Dark and the Whisperers and their castle and whatnot, and then that comes to a head and you get like the briefest like chaotic window into like a sample platter of just like, here's what this is, a moment that everything has been building to, and thus Dark's story has been building to, and Crim's story and the Schematico guys and Whale and everybody is there and they're all doing their thing in character, and you just get like a nice little window of like, oh, I think I'd like to go watch some of that or watch some of this, and it's a really nice little interplay, I
Yeah.
think, that we have.
I think
Yeah.
another one, like one of my favorite things about doing this kind of thing is I mod for a lot of people on Willow. So I normally have, if I'm not streaming or recording or doing my thing, I have normally got people's like tabs open and stuff on my second monitor. And seeing the chat's reaction to things that are happening on the server is like one of my favorite things. Because
Oh yeah, for sure.
like watching them get involved in the server, and then all the silly little plot twists and their reactions to all the little things happening in the thing. Like, Doc created this side character back in season 2 when they were bringing Rifty into the server, called Crad, which is literally Doc spelled backwards. By the way,
Oh yeah.
KRAD is Crad. Not thinking it would stick, and then everyone, including myself, has wanted Crad back for such a long time. We miss Crad. And
That's
I'm
great.
That's
sad.
why I stress. That's why I stress. I've had this stupid little bit character on the back burner. Well, this like bit aspect of my current character, that I wanted to do, where he has like sort of like an alter ego that I won't get into for spoiler reasons. But I'm really worried people are going to attach to this because it's so weird. You can never tell. You can never tell what little thing you're gonna do is just gonna like spiral out of control wildly, where it's like,
Well,
oh,
yeah.
do more of this,
It,
and it's like, do more. Okay, I
I
didn't know people liked that. I thought I was just doing that for me, you know?
I
it's
think
really
one of
it's really
the
interesting. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Jed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, one of the
Yeah, what are you saying?
biggest like spirals on the Willow SMP had to have been like that time travel plot that we did, and I think that's our one time that that's really happened is because you and I were just kind of fucking around and we're just like,
I
yeah,
just wanted
fuck
to
it, that's how I can
tease
get
that you
into
would be
Willow.
in. I just wanted to tease that you were coming to Willow and a confirmed person coming to Willow in like a weird covert way of like time travel. Ooh, and then that became its own entire thing. Insanely
And now
enough.
there's a
It
command block locked in a vault somewhere named the glitch. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I wonder what's gonna
Yeah.
happen with that. Oh, it's insane.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like the counterpoint to that is it's so spread thin and it's so like at some point that command block is going to become relevant. What the hell is the glitch command block? Well, as far as somebody who watched in Willow is concerned, we've pretty much like patched it out enough in the story of just like if you've seen console craft, you get it 100%. If you've only seen Willow, it's like okay, there's just this like weird like archaic vault down in the underground somewhere and this was in it.
And then
Like it's just sort of an artifact. And that's sort of like an easily explainable one, but there are a lot of cases where it's like this is just incomprehensible to a new viewer and in a format like
Yeah.
live streaming, it's like that's a really bad thing. How do we fix
Yeah.
it, you know? But like, you
That's
know,
like the, I
pros and
think
cons.
that's like the main problem with like Willow season 1, 2, now 3, and like console craft and stuff, is that they all had their own wildly different storylines during their seasons. It's just the whole bringing them together, which is like the most important part, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like how are you gonna
Yeah.
bring it together so it makes sense for the viewers, which is also kind of why we're doing a lore recap and stuff. But like
Right.
yeah. Also, funny tidbit side character moment. My secondary character who I've like written these 7 paragraphs about and cared so much about and all that kind of stuff was meant to be a funny bit, and then I
Christ.
myself got attached to the character and then gave them a whole story. That
Love
was
when
like
that
my
happens.
thing.
That's
Yeah, because
There's all-
sometimes you can like create these characters as like this bit, and then they just become something so important to you. Like it can either become important to the audience, it become important to you, or you're just not going to care about it. It's like, oh, it's there, kind of thing.
In
Yeah.
like group storytelling, that tends to happen a lot because there's like, yeah, I'm sure you've seen the D&D meme about like fucking Fartbuckle the Goblin.
Oh yeah.
But like that happens often, and I'm glad to see that it happens not just in D&D, but like in a further RP space where it's just like making a funny character will create emotional tension, and it's
yeah.
interesting.
It's really
'cause
silly. Yeah,
we
I love
we can't
seeing
really
like the way. Yeah, go ahead. You
No,
go.
no. Go ahead. Sorry, I
No,
didn't mean to
no,
cut you off.
no.
Oh, I was just saying that. Oh, I was just saying real quick that like everybody has like their own interpretation of it when it's out there in the world is the great thing, and especially it's great for collaborative storytelling reasons. Of like what I see as like, yeah, this is just this dumb joke I'm gonna do for a week, and then I'm gonna just go and throw it out and maybe recycle it into something new, and then like Jed or someone else will come along and go, but I like that. Can we keep doing that? That's
Dude,
funny.
what the fuck?
You know, I
Bring
really
him
like
back.
that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, all right then. You know.
Yeah.
But what were you saying, Krim?
I feel like going on to that like whole little character thing. I think it's I really like playing these different characters because I really like seeing how different people react to like the different characters. For example, like how Dark used to react to Rena at the start of the server versus now, and how that's changed, and then the difference between Dark and Rena, and then Dark and Hema, like the conversations between the two. And I like that the fact that I could play a character, like characters that have completely no relation to each other whatsoever, so then it can't influence how these new people will perceive my character. And it's really cool because like Rena's like this whole death goddess thing who used to be immortal, you know, they're just this kind of just character. And only it's been rare amounts of time where like some people have been able to like see them for them and not just like this goddess who's like scared of dying and all that kind of shit. Because I've said this multiple times on like stream and stuff, so I'm completely fine with saying that. the reason why Rena's such like a pissy character that is like really strict sometimes with what they do is because their literal existence is on the line. And if they step out of line too many times, like most souls in the Willow universe, when they die, they go to the void and then they go to the afterlife and then they get to live their happy little life in the afterlife and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Rena does not get that afterlife. They just kind of cease to exist. And they know that. Which is why they're such like a pissy character when it comes to like their duties and stuff like that, because it's like my survival depends on what I do here, what decisions I make, and all that kind of stuff. And especially like now that she's got kids that like she's got like Sphinx canonically who's like seeing her as a parental figure. They've got Cake. I love Cake, by the way. Shout out to Cake. We love Cake in this household.
Cake.
And we've got all these other relationships with these different characters, and it's like, well, Rena's gonna be kind to them, but then also at the same time more strict in her duties because, well, she's got all these connections and stuff, and then she doesn't want to let them go. It's just like a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's really fun to tell those kinds of stories and have such a varied pool. What were you saying, Jed?
Saying that kind of reminds me of the like perspective differences that you'll get in this sort of thing with characters. And like how your character sees it as like, oh yeah, it's the, it's the end for them when everybody else they get to go to like heaven or whatever. And I don't know. I think it's interesting because I'm sure there is another character out there that, there is no end after it because we've got so many fucking gods on the server. That sounded so spiteful. I'm not spiteful about it. That just sounded spiteful. But like
I think there's only like there's two prominent god characters at the moment, which is Rena and then the Heiress. Because like she's like because the Heiress is like the queen of hell kind of thing. Like she's a goddess. That's kind of like how it's falling. And then Herobrine was like a prominent guy, but he's gone. He went on vacation. He went to go take some people to the void. So like, what person could bully a plant? All that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole thing. Like, I think I like the fact that we have these characters that will, at the end of the day, can shape the world however the fuck they want to. Which is the funny thing. Like, Rena, if they wanted to, could snap their fingers and everyone could be fucking dead. Like, that's how it works as a death goddess. But they're not. It's just when people really piss them off, you'll know. Like, for example, Nebula's character, Nebula, is a Reaper. Essentially, their role, Nebula's role is they work for Rena. Rena earns their soul, and their little job is to, whenever it's someone's time to die, Nebula has to be the one that kills them.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know about those either.
They're like a little Reaper kind of character. That's like the little job for thing. Like, for example, I've got some side characters that are like backstory.
I thought they just kind of did that.
No. Well, the first couple times they murdered it was like a collection of like for the wisps and stuff like that. No, this is like they made this deal, funnily enough, Jed, for one of the Herobrine blocks that Hema stole. Hema gave it to Rena and was like, use this to your advantage, have fun, I guess, and then like walked off to continue their life. And so going into like new stuff is I'm gonna bring in like Mayhem, and I am planning on bringing in characters from like our past and all that kind of stuff, and like characters that we're gonna want to kill off. So we're gonna get Nebula to do that. Nebula's gonna murder them.
Nebula's like the vehicle for that.
Yeah, it's like the little like they're literally like a little Reaper.
It's such a funny thing. It's such a funny thing to swap notes like this because in our corner of the world, Nebula's character, as far as any of us know, we're out of character up to this moment. As far as any of us knew, was just a bloodthirsty, ravenous, murderous bastard, and just did it for fun.
And then we
were totally cool with it. We were totally cool with it. Was the thing that's like, well, they're not murdering us, and they said they wouldn't, so I don't really see a problem. And I didn't know any of these people they murdered. I got no beef. So we've just been completely cool with them, aside from just like the occasional, like, oh, what are you gonna do? Murder me?
See, the thing with Nebula's character, I think the beginning of Willow season 3, is like the fact that like they've come from Consulcroft, so they've come from a world with a deity that was like threatening them to kill somebody or they were gonna die themselves. So like I think it was like a whole thing of it has that trauma that it'll do whatever this outer force says because they have the trauma of, oh, something bad's gonna happen to me if I don't do this for this person. So that's why I think it was like so okay with killing in the beginning. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they said a couple times in character, like, I'm not gonna say no to this outer being that is telling me to do something. I have bad history with that. Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense. Speaking of console crafting, coming from console craft, I feel real stupid. I feel real
Yeah.
stupid. I killed my console craft character, and I wasn't really satisfied with my Willow 2 character, so I was like, alright, clean slate. I'll work from something new. Because I like every season to have a theme, and so I was just like, okay, clean slate, we'll retry Season 2's theme, and really lean deep, you know?
Man, I liked fishing with that guy. I liked fishing with that rat.
Yeah, I don't know. And so I was like, the trouble now is like, what, like in character I have to like kind of behave like I don't know what's up some of the time, and which helps when I actually don't. It helps me like poker face through like, wait, what are you talking about? You know?
Mhm.
But like it's such a like a thing of just like I feel real bad showing up to lore meetings, except for the fact that there's an audience. I feel very audience surrogate a little bit when I get to show up to lore meetings. It's like, guys, we have to do something about Herobrine. He just fucking came in and killed my dog and then left. What the hell, man? And I get to go, who's Herobrine? What are we talking about? And then like, okay, let's get it from the top, bring out the PowerPoint, you know?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
time I'm gonna get better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get better at the end of this season at not getting sick of and or murder, like having them die tragically. And I'm just gonna like transition out of the current theme into whatever the next season's theme is in plot. Like I'll find a way
Well,
to
yeah.
make that work.
Because I
That's
think we've spoken like a couple times with VC, and I've heard you guys mention about how like at one point like 2 months ago, you guys were planning a lore like a year in advance, and I was like, how does somebody do that? And then I've started doing the exact same thing for like myself. Like,
Oh no, it's
I've
so
started
easy.
planning with like Doc and another person about like future lore, like for the next season. Like, we have to like come up with little scenarios and how things are gonna go and everything like that and all that kind of thing. And it's like it's so easy to do, but it also makes me so impatient because I'd love to like be able to do that now.
Oh
But
yeah.
like
Yeah.
certain things have to happen before I have to do it and all that kind of thing. It's like
What's up, Jen?
We've had a few plans that have kind of gotten expedited due to just impatience. Where it's like things have just happened a little bit sooner because it's like, man, this is really cool and I want to get to the next part. But right now we're like chomping at the bit here a little bit early.
Mhm.
yeah, no,
But
I definitely agree with that because like I'm sitting here with one of my characters being in a coma for an indefinite period of time until a certain thing happens, and I've sat here and I've got like, so for example, I'll talk a little bit about this, but I won't go into too much detail.
Right. Go ahead.
During the time of PAX, my character was locked in a tower by Herobrine, and then the day they came back, they had their memories kind of like jumbled around and stuff like that. So I'm using this little coma that they're in currently as a way to like fix their memories, like their way. So Hema is a silly character because they have someone living in their head at the moment named Console, which is Mustard from Console Craft, because there was this whole storyline of how they're platonic soulmates and then they merge their minds into one essentially. So Mustard's just kind of living in their head, and it's this whole little. I have this whole little cinematic idea that's just like conversations between those two while they're in Hema's head, and they're like slowly fixing Hema's memories and going through all of Hema's trauma and fixing, like going through all that kind of thing. And like, I like it. I like that I've come up with this idea and I have all cinematics and everything for it that are gonna play when I do my next live stream as Hemer and all that kind of stuff. But also at the same time, I'm so impatient because I'm so ready to get back to starting to play Hemer again. But I have to wait for all of this stuff to be done, and I have to actually plan it out. I have to film it. I have to do it. I have to do all this kind of thing for it. But I'm just like wanting to get back in. So I've introduced a little character that's like an apparition kind of thing. That is Console Craft Crim as like a hallucination that'll just walk around Willow.
Oh, that's neat.
And well, yeah, that just like, it's just a little guy that'll cause trauma for some. Like yesterday, only Doc Corey and Jamie could see them, or like Doc, Paradox and Jamie could see them, and it was like a whole thing of like Jamie and Paradox's reactions to them just walking around the server, just like doing random things, and then Doc having obviously no real memory of Consolecraft, having no idea who it was until they were in like the kitchen making brownies, which was like Hima's thing to do, was like something cool to see. Because if your character has memories from Consolecraft, I think they're gonna recognize them. Whereas if you don't, it's just a person with red hair and a white streak and like light gray eyes walking around just doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure,
Nice.
and that's super interesting. That's super interesting because, like, I think even if you don't know what's up, it'll still like accrue intrigue from people of like, what the heck is going on there, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I think that's
yeah,
super interesting.
definitely.
But I totally understand that, like, man, I want to play my character now because I was not told when Sabush and Bush, like, signed me up for this, like, you're taking Herobrine to Willow Season 3. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. Cool. And then, so our initial plan was literally within the first 2 weeks, I would have been cured and the torch would have been passed off instantly. Then the blocks were stolen and we were like, okay, so when is this gonna wrap? And it's like, end of October probably. And I was like, or like beginning of October, and it's like, oh no, oh no.
Yeah, you're locked in for a few months there. That's what makes
Yeah.
lore planning so easy for us, is that, like, okay, so Herobrine till end of October, then once Jed's done being possessed after October, we can do this vault thing we're planning, and then way after that, we need to obviously we have the like future point of Jed needs to be sent back in time at some point. We need to find a way to get him to go back in time. And so that's easy enough to knock out. But because we want like the current Jed around just a little longer, then it's easy enough to go like, oh yeah, we got lore planned for like 6 months, and then occasionally we'll be sitting in a VC together and go like, oh, but we could fit this new plot point I thought of like well between those two, and so we slowly just fill the gap, and it's like, okay, well now this has to happen at this day on this date at this time to make any sense, and so
Yeah.
like of course those things get shifted around a little bit as things happen on the server. Like, as things happen on the server, I struggle to think of a specific time this happened, but a lot of the times these plans sort of get rerouted. So we have if the server were to stop tomorrow, like if the world were to stop spinning and no events happened whatsoever, we've still got like a year of stuff left to do. But, you know, presumably, you know, of course, things are going to get in the way of that at some stage, and
yeah.
I'm going to. So it's built flexible. We didn't construct our lore out of steel. We made it out of rubber so that we can kind of sort of work around it and shift it,
Bend
and
it
it'll
around
bend with
things,
the
yeah.
tide, you know.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like the reason I think why I stole the blocks in the first place, because I was like, I feel like you guys could do a lot more. Like, I felt like you guys could do a lot more than just like the 2 weeks with like Herobrine, Jed, and that was it kind of thing. So I stole it to give it more of an incentive, because then it not only affected your characters, but it got other characters involved in your story, which is like another thing. Which was like really like one of my things that I wanted to do, because I like getting people involved with different things. Like I'll drag people places, have them quote unquote accidentally walking in on a conversation, and oh boom, you're involved in law, like that kind of thing.
That's the best part about that plot line to me, though, was that it was like, yep, I stole all the blocks from you, but now somebody else is gonna get them for you. So kick up your feet, build shit in Schematica. I don't know, do whatever you want.
That's the thing.
And then I got to take all the credit.
I find Jed's style of execution on lore, because it's like we work the same way, where we like, of course, because we talked about how we do lore last time, and that hasn't really, last time we had you on the show, and that hasn't really changed, where like, I know where we're starting at the beginning of stream, and I know where the plot has to be at the end of stream, and sometimes I know a couple little points in between, but I don't really word for word script it, you know, and sometimes things go unsaid, and Jed assumes it's point A to point C when there's a point B in the middle, and like the first day Jed showed up, we had obviously talked about the fact that he's gonna stick around for a while, but there were just no openings in the way Jed was acting that of like, okay, his character wants to leave instantly. We don't know how to keep him here. So I'm very thankful you were there to like ease him into staying, by like, yoink, see you later.
Yeah, it's like the way I see Willow in terms of like lore is we have point A and we have point B. And then you have little stepping stones that all the characters take together, and it's like as long as you get to point B, whatever you do during said point A and point B, it's like it doesn't really matter. Like it's free to shape however you want to be, as long as you're at this point by point B, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Speaking of all the little things that happen between point A and point B, we should have, I don't know if this has been pitched or maybe it already exists, we should have on the Willow Wiki a wiki article for weird things that have become canon to Willow that weren't canon before or intended to be. Because I've heard a million stories from a bunch of different players of like, yeah, we made homophobia canon. The skulk makes you homophobic. There's just no way around
That's
it.
canon.
And it's like little tidbits like that could be very funny to have as just like, here's a wiki article that like lists just to give people an incentive of like, oh, let's go down this rabbit hole. Why is Marxism canon to the WillowSMP? What happened there?
Yeah.
When did the Bible become canon? Like the text of the Bible existing. We're responsible for a lot of these, and I'm real sorry.
I think so, and also it's fun because of how I designed Jed's character to be able to just like kind of break the fourth wall with certain like things where it's just like, yeah, I was in Five Nights at Freddy's. Fuck it, why not?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's a fun gag.
It's an especially fun gag because somebody will do like a quasi lore, like holy shit, like funny Fredbear, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. Just like him, and then tie it back to lore, and then it's kind of funny to watch people squirm in the way of like, why did their character bring it up? But
it's so funny because different members of the server are in different time periods, and it's the funniest thing ever to me. So, for example, in Doc's castle, there's this like painting sitting up on these bookshelves. Canonically, that's a TV. That's a flat screen TV just kind of lodged into the bookshelves.
So funny.
Because Doc and I made it canon that the way Humor and Doc bond is they basically made like bake sweets together, and then they used to like watch true crime videos on like Doc's like robotic arm, like it was projected and stuff. And then Sphinx's character Michael was like, oh yeah, I could just like so Michael's like a kind of character that can break the fourth wall. Like that's the kind of thing they travel through for dimensions and stuff. So Michael was like, oh yeah, I could just go get you like a flat screen TV at some point. You guys can just like watch true crime on there because like I know it hurts Doc's arm and stuff. So that's like that. And then so that's those people, and then you've got other people on the server who have no fucking idea what a TV is and what it does. Like they're living in this whole medieval time period. And then you just get that, like random little snippets of that, and like people think it's a painting, and then you have to be like, no, it's not a painting,
so much
that's
fun.
a flat screen.
Flappy Bird,
so
Angry Birds are all canon because of us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The fun thing about that is like it's so funny seeing other people's approach to it, because mine was obviously Jed is from a different time because he's time traveled, and then that leaves us like an infinite gap between the time he enters the time machine and the time it appears in Willow of like he might have made a pit stop, but like for my character I explain it away with he's from like quasi New York that is just like so far out it's inaccessible. Like it's just like, oh yeah, I'm from like a distant foreign land, don't worry about it. And it's so fun to see people like, oh, I dimension hop, or I chose not to explain it. It's such a fun thing.
Like some people choose not to explain it because they're like they want to keep it a secret to be found out later in law. Like I have this whole thing. Like there was this whole, like, you guys know you guys remember Marie's side quest the other day?
That was phenomenal. That was a great time back to front. I absolutely remember it. Why? What's up?
Yeah. Because, like, Halo and I were talking, like, whispering to each other in canon, and I had the idea of, like, what if, Marie is from Rena's kingdom?
Right,
kind of
right.
thing. So Marie's little note to her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rena has that.
Oh.
Oh.
Because
Well.
it'll never actually get to Marie's parents because this kingdom existed over 1,000 years ago, back when Rena was
Yeah.
immortal, kind of thing. So like they're kind of long gone, you know.
We had left the
Oh,
Waystone, and I had
man.
went. I think Marie's parents are dead. And
No,
and
it was so
everybody around
funny
me was
because we
just
had
like,
that big sweet moment. We had that big sweet moment where we were like, "All right, well, we leave them to it now, I suppose.
"Bye,
We should
Maria."
go. Oh, I hope you find your parents." And then we like walk over the hill and then go home. And then was the second we're out of earshot, Jed just goes, "I think Marie's parents are dead."
I think it's the silliest like thing to me because like I love what Halo did with that character. It's
Oh,
like
for sure.
it's Halo is so talented, like because Halo did all the modeling for that
Oh
themselves.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I heavily appreciate Halo's gonna hate me for saying this, but I appreciate Halo. I think Halo is so cool. Um
Yeah.
they are
Halo's
like
such an
she's so
artisan.
talented. And she's so like Shrimp's model a law yesterday. I don't know if you actually saw it, but it was like similar
Did
to
not.
how it was so it was Samara, which
Mhm.
was the console craft thing, and in console craft, Shrimp had like the corruption all over her skin and stuff.
Mhm.
Right, right.
What Halo did is they made it like here. I'm gonna grab it. Hang on, let me grab a screenshot from Halo's DMs real quick, because they essentially just took that concept and made it all 3D and it moved and there was a toggle so it would show up on certain parts of the face and all that kind of stuff. Like here, I'm gonna put the screenshot for reference in the chat. But like you see all like it's
Oh, yeah,
physical
yeah, yeah.
cubes that you can
Oh
see
yeah.
and
That's
like they
wicked.
move around and animate and stuff. That's so awesome and it's like it's all done by Halo. And oh,
Yeah.
it's so talented. Like they made the crow model for me themselves and it was funny. It was the greatest thing ever. I'm so at awe of Halo's talent. Halo is
I
Same.
amazing.
The best part is Halo's given me like an open invite of just like, so I was like, hey, I heard that I could do CPM and Blockbench. Like I could set up most of like the modeling and stuff for that in Blockbench, which is a software I'm familiar with. And so it's like, I would love to get into doing that. And Halo was like, oh yeah, if you ever need like help with anything or you want me to like sit and teach you, I'm happy to do it, you know. And that was
yeah.
such a like a nice invite from her to like just hey, come on over. I'll show you I'll show you the ropes, you know. And that's such an appreciative thing or such an appreciated thing, especially from someone, especially coming from somebody like Halo who is so absolutely great with CPM.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
feel
because
like fucking Da Vinci has just come down and gone like, oh, you want to figure out oil paints? I got you.
Here you go. I'll hold your hand while you do it.
I love it because like yeah, well Blockbench and CPM like you need if you're gonna start doing first things first, if you're gonna start doing Blockbench and custom player models, is you're gonna need the Blockbench CPM plugin.
For sure, for
Mhm.
sure.
Because there's like a whole like there's like the whole plugin because that lets you animate custom things, create custom cubes and all that kind of stuff. And speaking of like your Blockbench endeavors, I had a question for you actually.
Oh god.
I'm turning the
Oh god.
tables.
This has
What
happened
got you
before.
into like it has happened. History is repeating itself. I because obviously we've spoken about this briefly in VC, but what got you to like start posting skin retextures and stuff on TikTok?
I don't know. Okay, so I had a real night where I was like, "Oh man, I need to find more content to make. I need to start making a variety of content and really like scratch a bunch of creative itches that I have." And you know, and so I was like, I need to come up with something for TikTok. And so I did a bunch of research on, hey, what performs on TikTok? How can I come up with a concept that like perfectly caters to the platform I'm making content for? And I was like, okay, so it seems like regular uploads are a huge thing, like daily, if not every other day. Like sometimes even multiple times a day works great for some people. And it needs to be something, some kind of project is usually what people like over there, is to see like someone making progress on a thing day to day. And I was just like, I could do something huge, but that puts a fixed end date on it. And I was like, I'll make skins. I'll start making Minecraft skins, and then if that doesn't go anywhere, I'll have to come up with a plan B. But for now, plan A is just make one of these. I'll sit down tonight and I'll make one of these and I'll set it to go out tomorrow. And if it does well, then I'll keep doing them. And I went from 200 followers to like 3K overnight because of that.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't stopped. It hasn't ended. And
Are you
so
at
I'm
11K now?
I just passed 10 day before yesterday, so I'm probably at 11 now. I just got into the creator fund, which means I can start making a little extra revenue off of those, which was real sick. But primarily it was just like a push of like, I want to get better. I want to get better at doing pixel art in general, and I want to make TikTok content. How can I do that? In a way that's like appealing to look at. And so I started doing that, and that was fun. It's been a absolutely great time and a great thing to work on. But it's CPM is a huge thing. What's up, Jen?
I don't mean to backtrack too heavily. Oh yeah. Well, I guess congratulations, Vox. You've hit 11K.
Oh, I have hit 11K. You're telling me now this now for the first time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go check this, and then whoa, 11K. So proud.
I don't mean to roll back the conversation too far, but I did have a question about the Maria thing that we did. Because Vox and I talked about this off the podcast or off the record in general. We were just in a private call, and I kind of wanted to verify this. Was the crow like Halo was like, please, we aren't getting anywhere. Please help us out to get somewhere with this.
I had the suspicion that was the case.
That was just me stalking you and then getting involved.
Okay.
I'm so glad you did. We were getting nowhere. We were really trying.
Fox and I, because I think you were talking about like sending messages to like parents and stuff, and I was like, what if they one become a messenger crow and two, I'd give you a place where this could be from, because like this like if we ever extend the border this far out, there's just like a ruined kingdom, completely overgrown and everything, sitting somewhere 10,000 blocks out from the where the border is and all that kind of stuff. And they would be like, if anything in future, if we did go out that far, I could put. It's giving me storyline ideas because I could make a tiny little abandoned theater that's got like a puppet show sitting there on the stage. Like it was like before everything went wrong, there was a puppet show in progress kind of thing. I think that's like really interesting. No, I just kind of like came in there and I was like, how could we make this experience more fun, and also still keeping to like a canonical like kind of thing. So I was like messaging Halo, I was like giving them ideas and stuff like that. Because a lot of the time, what I do with people when it comes to lore is they come into my DMs and they're talking to me about this kind of stuff, and essentially it's like a game of like tennis or something. Because we're like sitting there with our rackets and we're like hitting lore ideas back at each other and back at each other and back at each other and all that kind of thing. Because I like taking people's ideas and then extending on it to like give them more ideas. Saki and I now have this like cinematic idea for how we're gonna reveal what Saki is and all that kind of stuff. And purely because they've mentioned something in the brain rot chat and I've been like, this gives me an idea, I'm going to DM you, and then them responding with, oh, this is a great idea, we should 100% do this. Like that kind of thing. It's like always fun to me because I love being able to take people's stories and then extend on them. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy where these little things like spur from, because again, like you said, the whole like subplot or like little like side quest we did the other day has now like spawned a couple little ideas for you. And I think that's really interesting, of just like in the same way as like the things that you make are weirdly inspirational for people or weirdly enjoyed more than you would expect by people sometimes. It's also like it's a two-way street, definitely, where like the ideas that you get and like the inspirations you have come from like such strange little places that you would never expect also.
Yeah. I often will find myself not realizing the inspiration I'll get, and I'll run like a character that I've made for D&D or whatever project I'm working on past Vox, and Vox will be like, oh, you just made fucking BJ from Wolfenstein, that game that you played like 30 times 2 years ago. And it's like, fuck, you're right. God damn it. And then
it's a whole big thing of like coming up with your own ideas, and then you assume them to be original, and then you feel like, oh, this is really familiar to something. And I feel like I've been piggybacking a lot of my like favorite characters from different things. Because I'm like, how can I bring these people's storylines in to make this like complex little character that's been through oh so much, but you don't get to know how much they've been through just yet. That's like a little future thing, and they've gone through this and this and this, and it's been mentioned, but you never dive into it until it becomes like a relevant thing. And I feel like that's like something that is, I don't know, it's like really interesting to find out like everyone's ideas and everything with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like something I really enjoy because obviously I've said this before, but storytelling is my shit. I fucking love it. It's amazing. I love having the chance to be able to like tell these stories and all this kind of thing. It's like really important to me. So
Yeah,
It's
I like how like storytelling intense this can be for everybody and how everybody enjoys it. As much as I don't really get into it all that much, I do enjoy seeing other people take joy in it.
I appreciate it. It's a nice muscle that I don't often get to flex. Is that sort of like fictionalized? Like, how can I play? It stretches a lot of parts of me that I don't really get to often with like the writing for lore and then the acting and then being able to improv on the fly little moments, and I find that I still have my weak points, but I'm finding I'm very aware of where those blind spots are and how to start closing in on them. And it's something that I wouldn't have ever like considered before, but like it's something that I'm very much interested in now because it's like I don't know. I've always been sort of a creative, but like this has never been my outlet. And like I used to pre-Willow, I used to avoid all lore servers like the plague of just like I don't want to get wrapped up in that. I just want to play the game and have a good time, and be like a
Yeah.
goofy guy, But then like I sort of dipped my toe in it with Willow and then just like ended up deeper than I expected in it, and having way
Yeah.
better of a time than I ever would have thought. And it's such a fun thing. It's such a nice fun thing.
Yeah.
But to loop around are there any like what do you think has been your best moment of the season? Where do you think you've really like shown in season 3 so far?
I don't think I've had that moment just yet because
Oh.
You
I
haven't
haven't
peaked?
done the thing that I want to do yet. I haven't done the thing that I want to do yet because I got this like cinematic idea that I can't really talk about yet because it's secret. But it's like this whole thing of like everything that I've got planned that goes after it. Like Doc and I had a full-on animatic idea for this thing that I don't know if it'll be actually happening or if we're gonna do like Minimator or something like that. But we have this whole idea and this whole little how it's gonna lead into the storyline plot and why it's my character dealing with all these kind of like little situations and stuff. And I'm like, I'm really interested to see how that'll go for them. And then also how I'm going to continue writing them from that point onwards. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Big
because I have
character
an
changes.
idea. Well, yeah, because I have like an idea for how I want them to be in season 4. Because I don't know if it's been mentioned, but Doc has said this multiple times on stream that his character is dying at the end of the season. And
Right.
Hemor and Doc have found family in the sense of they are siblings, and they will be siblings no matter what. So it's like that whole little thing of what is it going to be like for Hema once one of the most important people in their entire life just dies.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
a whole thing. But yeah, no, I don't think I've had that moment just yet for any of my characters. I think I'm gonna have them, but like I think I've still got a little ways to go.
The best
Before
is
I
yet to come.
Oh yeah.
exactly.
And that's
Things
great to
always
hear.
get better.
Speaking of not knowing what's going on after Dark dies for your character, we always have an opening in the Schematico family. There
by an
are open
opening, we
positions.
mean
We can get
an
you
intern?
contracted in tomorrow. It
You
would
mean I
not
could
be a big
basically
deal.
just like you mean I could just basically just like come by like I normally do and come steal some pumpkins and just leave again,
Yeah.
You mean like that kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
just,
yeah.
do what most people do when they're grieving. Throw yourself into your work, and by your work, I mean work that we don't want to do, that we can, like, make you do if we hire you.
Exactly.
Oh,
It'll be great.
actually, Jen, I have a question for you. Actually,
What happened to the melon
how
farm?
many-
I just thought about that.
No.
Oh, okay.
How many nights did you spend AFKing those farms for me?
Huh? Oh, not very many. I was AFKing mostly the iron farm. It just so happened to be a backup.
A consequence of AFKing the iron farm is that it's directly next to the it's like in the same chunk, and so
Dude,
so the melon and pumpkin farm also just runs. And in fact, if anything, you were doing us a favor because we didn't have a shut off for the farm at the time. We didn't have a shut off for the farm at the time, and so if we didn't find a use for those melons and pumpkins real fast, we either were gonna have to throw them out, or like we were just gonna overflow our place with melon and pumpkins entirely.
Yeah.
Well, me and my 34 farmers can help with that.
Yeah, I got my
Awesome.
like grubby little farming hands into the WillowSMP because like that's what I do in Minecraft. I build auto farms and I build redstone. And
that giant ass storage system really says that.
Like that's just what I do. And Vox likes building things. So we work very well together of like, I want to build this massive fucking storage system. Okay, can you make it look this way so that I can plan around it? And it's like, yeah, this is a good challenge for me. This is a good challenge for you. We both get a lot of work done. It's very nice. But because I got my grubby little hands in here, and Vox was like, I want to make it one big building, I realized I can make all of them AFKable all at the same time, and it's fucking fantastic, dude.
And of course, they all have on and off
resources
switches. Of course.
Yeah.
And speaking of on and off switches, now that we have an on and off switch for the melon farm, we've also subsequently created a freeze the server in place for one whole tick machine.
Yeah.
Please don't crash the server. Please don't.
No. We thought about it. We thought about it.
We
There was a
didn't.
time a few Fridays ago where we put all the porta potties in because we were the only ones on the server. We were really half tempted to sit there and flick the melon farm on and off until the server crashed just to see if it was possible. But I was like, okay, this would be funny. However, none of the staff are available right now, I'm pretty sure. I would be really upset with myself if Crim had to like drag themselves to their desk or something to come turn the server back on.
Yeah.
I have when I'm playing on Willow, I like to keep an eye on the server, so I have on my second monitor just the console. So like if anyone has any issues or at all, I can just like alt tab and be like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm seeing, who am I seeing on the server right now? I'm seeing a Halo, I'm seeing a Dre, I'm seeing a Dart. I'm seeing many silly people on the WillowSMP right now.
I think it would be really funny if you press the stop server button right now and don't tell anybody.
No.
Like the little demon in the back of your head.
The evidence is
Intrusive
in this
Thoughts
podcast,
podcast.
though.
Well, somebody would have to watch the podcast for that to fucking work.
Nobody's paying attention at an hour and 22 minutes. Nobody from Willow, anyway.
I was about to say, I advertised this shit to my Discord. This shit gets advertised.
Well, and then we appreciate it.
My mom also watches this. Hi, Mom.
Oh no! Hi, Grim's mom. Sorry about all those also, like vile swears we were yelling at each other like last episode.
Yeah. Hi, my mom. In like 6 months, my mom has been saving up these episodes to watch when I move so that she can.
That's so sad.
It is.
When we move in together, your mom's gonna miss you, and so she's gonna watch our podcast.
Yeah.
Hi, Jed's mom. Hi, Crim's mom.
Hello, mothers. I'm not even in your server, and yet my shit's getting advertised there.
Vox and Jed fight about it. Popular with the mothers of content creators.
You're not even in the fucking greenhouse, and you're getting advertised. You're fucking welcome. God damn.
Hell yeah.
Petition to change the name of the show to the Mother's Choice podcast.
Well, we should put it as like a badge in the bottom right of our logo, like the New York Times recommends sort of thing. I think that's what we should do. Yeah, mothers enjoy. Even though like we're like the least family friendly people ever, but oh man. But Willow's great. Willow's great. The podcast is great. What were we talking about before? Oh yeah, crashing the server.
Oh my god. No, hold on. Merch.
No?
Merch that just says MILF, man, I love, fight about it.
Jesus Christ. All right.
We'll make the MILF merch. I'll do it. I'll open Redbubble right now. Don't make me do it.
This is reminding me. Okay, sorry. I went to PAX this year, as I've said earlier in the thing, and I met up with a bunch of my friends. And
Right, right.
my little friend group with like like Fusion and all that. My little friends that I'm with. You know the meme where it's like my daughter loves him. I think he looks a little gay, but whatever makes my princess happy. You know that meme?
Right, right.
My skin is on a cup with that meme sitting above it. It is the
That is
silliest shit ever,
hilarious.
and we all have matching.
Christ.
Hang on, let me see if I can find this mug for you. It's a matching mug. So it's our skins, and then it's a friend's skin who was like the blame for the bit, like
Mhm.
behind the scenes as well. And it was like, oh, and they made us all matching mugs, and it was the funniest thing ever. I loved it. It was amazing. I shared the Discord and everything. It was the greatest thing. Let me see if I
That's
can find this mug.
spectacular. But
I don't know what
That's
the
the
heck
thing about it
fantastic.
is,
mug.
I don't know. I have such a hard time thinking of merch ideas. I dread the day that comes along
Ooh.
that somebody actually asks of just like, hey, do you got merch? You know, if I ever end up in that position, I will be very scared. Just like, what do you do? Where do people go? What do they do?
I've settled upon fight about it merch. I will be pushing for that playing card idea that you had, Vox. We were playing Balatro at the time, and Vox is like, "What if we had like a playing card set, and you got all the blacks, and I got all the reds, and we kind of hue shifted the red a little bit orange to be my colors, and then
Well,
we got
yeah.
like a deck of cards, and we
Where
each had
like
like a king and
Jed
a
on
queen,
like
and
on the black set
Mhm.
gets to on the black the two black
kings
not two black kings, but two black what are they called? Suits. Yes.
suits. Yeah,
The
Yeah,
two
so
black suits, it'll be like on it'll be like clubs and spades, and Jed gets to be like the king and queen and jack and whatnot of spades. And then I get obviously the king and queen and jack and whatnot for diamonds and hearts. And I think that's really funny. I think that's a really funny bit. And I'd love to sell
yeah.
those. And like, because I would have to
Speaking
like
of
commission an artist and everything. Anyway, yeah.
yeah. Speaking of like merch related stuff, we're it was always like a little. We've talked about this a couple times. Amongst like a couple people in the Holy Garden of Hell at one point. Making a merch for Willow, except it's a tarot card set, and each tarot card is
Ooh.
representative of each character. And me being me, I like getting concept art for this kind of thing done, and also I feel like it would be really cool if certain characters were drawing tarot cards. So if you look in the VC chat, I may have moneyed my two very talented artist friends for some
Oh,
tarot card
look at
examples.
that.
Oh man,
Look at that.
I feel like
I swear to you, if this ends up being a thing, you will at least have one purchaser, and it will be my husband. He loves tarot
Oh,
card
yeah.
sets, and he also really likes Willow stuff. And so put that out, and you might get us to buy more than one for our household.
Oh, can I get can Vox and I get to share the Fool? That would be fun.
Yeah, can we
That
get
would
the
be
food
fun.
together?
You want to share the full? Hang on, let me look in Doug's DMs. I could probably send you the list.
Right, but if
'Cause
you've
we
got
did-
an
we did
Or are
opening
we already
anywhere,
in
a
there?
fitting
Yeah.
opening, just let me know, and it's just like, all right, I'll take it. You know.
Because we were there was this one night where we were looking up meanings of tarot cards and doing all this kind of thing and looking
Mhm.
over them and all that kind of stuff, and we have allocated everyone for a tarot card, which is either the upright or the reverse of
Mhm.
each tarot card. It's the coolest thing.
Right, right.
So like in the images that you're seeing, Rena is obviously deaf, for obvious reasons.
Right,
And
right.
then Hema is the upright moon. Because
Mhm.
those were like allocated to those two characters, and it was like a little thing. Okay, let me see if I can find it.
Of course. But there are services that'll do custom printing, and I heard that Willow
Oh, yeah.
Media was thinking of, once the Willow Media brand was out there, starting to offer merch under those, and it would be very easy
All I'm saying
to get at least a couple
is-
test decks done to see how they look.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And all I'm saying is
Inexpensive,
that
but you know.
Vox had me draw the Schematico logo so that it would be copyright distinct. So
Copyright distinct
that-
and in a vector format, so it can easily be
Yeah.
transferred onto like shirts and whatnot if needed.
I don't think I did
I thought
it in a
about just
vector.
printing one for
Vox.
two
You
of
didn't
us.
tell
You
me to
did
do it in
for
a vector.
You did do it for a vector, remember? Because you were struggling so fucking hard to get it to be a vector, and like Because, like, you decided you'd do it as a non-vector and then do it as a vector after, is what you said.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever finished. I don't think I ever like finished.
Well, we have the setup
second
to
part
do
of
that.
Why we
We have
it.
a setup to do that.
It's also like an 8K image, so like
Yeah, it would display fine. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, well, because we were in my defense, it was not like an ego thing as much as just like we had just had that conversation recently with a bunch of the Willow staff about how, like, hey, we're thinking of maybe doing merch at some point for in the future. We would like to be able to do merch at some point, and so I was just like, okay, we need to make this merchable just in case,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because better in the design phase to account for that than to months down the line get a DM about it and it's like, oh fuck, we have to do that now. After we've already put all the files away for it.
Oh yeah.
Easier to not dig that stuff up.
You have like all of the Willow members as their own fucking tarot card written out. You guys did that on your own?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's somewhere. It's in someone's
wild.
DMs. It's somewhere. I'd have to look for it, but it's in someone's DMs. I remember.
Absolutely love to see that when you get the opportunity.
Yeah.
But, either way, that's actually a really exciting idea. Like, I'm genuinely, like, that seems like a super cool idea to do a Willow Tarot deck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whose DMs it would be. There we go. This is like, Jed, you're the upright magician.
Oh. Okay. What's Vox?
You were allocated. Here, I'm gonna pop this in the thing so you can see the list.
For sure.
Where's this?
Oh, hey, this is very nice things to say about me. I'm sorry.
Did you look into it?
I did. Determined, resourceful, skilled, and powerful. Okay,
nice.
I'll take it.
That was like, I think that was like you during your like Herobrine arc when you were like determined to go home and all that kind of stuff, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No,
but
that's the list so far.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I love that. But
that's awesome.
But no, yeah, right, that's another thing since we've last seen you. Willow Media is official. We've talked about it on the show several times. Yeah? But it's official now. It's out there. It's a thing.
I can't wait for your monthly and weekly show. I'm most excited for that.
That was horrifying. I want to talk about this on the podcast real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
That video came out, and I got mentioned as like a thanks to Vox and Jed, we'll have this happening. I'm gonna be real honest right here, brutally honest to myself. Vox was like, "Hey, we should do this," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it. That sounds like fun." And then I got implicated as like, "Yeah, they're the ones working on it," and it's like, I fucking said yes. That's all I did.
Jump scare. Well, that's the thing is that like Enzo has us set up in such a way that like, we're probably not going to be the ones editing the show. We're going to be doing the writing for the show and like we end up doing the writing and the recording, and we've got someone set aside to do research. We've got someone set aside to do editing. And so like we barely have to participate. Like we just have to write the scripts and show up and read them.
Being hosts of things are great. It's kind of what we do on Vox and Jed Fight About It, just because we don't do shit.
That was my metric for, well, you don't do shit. You get to show up and, like, sit down. I have to edit the show after the fact and sit down and make sure everything looks good.
That takes 2 minutes.
That takes 4 hours, Jed. Need you know that, like, during export, my entire computer is completely out of commission while the episode processes. But,
I'll be taking
No, Jed, go ahead.
Well, no, I'll be taking a secondary computer for you to do that. But yeah.
Oh, right. You're saying...
Oh my god, my computer's on the out, guys. My computer. Speaking of shitty computers, my computer's on the out. The entire time we've been doing this, my screen's been glitching a little bit, so that's fun to know. And then also I found out, so I need to upgrade my computer desperately. You wanna know why?
Why?
I found out recently that my computer hasn't updated since August of last year.
Oh, that's it. That's a long time. That's over a year. Why.
And there's no fix for it. We've already tried all the fixes for it, so it's literally spending the $3,000 to get a new computer.
Huh.
Is like the next step.
Did
That's
you try to
really
update it
rough.
through the BIOS?
Yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Fucking
Yep.
rest in peace your computer, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it was time for an upgrade. It's been like 4 or 5 years-ish. But you know, the
Yeah.
entire time we've been talking, I've been like doing other stuff on my computer, and I've been watching as my main monitor goes like half black, and then this checkered screen between like the black and the normal, and just like
Oh.
sitting there for a few seconds, and I've been like, oh,
Yeah, that thing
shit.
is on the outs of the outs. Oh boy. But no, yeah, Jed had a similar issue. Not a similar issue where it wouldn't update, but a similar issue where he just didn't update his graphics card since like April or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
it was just
I'm
like
pretty sure my
unupdated.
drivers and stuff need all these updates, but I can't update it because the main software of the fucking computer won't update.
Yeah.
It's like my main
Wild.
problem. So I'm
That
like
would
sitting
be
here
an
with
issue.
outdated shit, and I'm just like, oh.
But
Nothing
yeah.
to do about it. But
Oh yeah,
no, go ahead.
it's
Speaking of Willow Media, do you have any projects planned lined up for yourself, Krim, that you're gonna be
Willow
doing?
Media wise, no. I'm like the behind the scenes moderator. Like I post the stuff on the Twitter. That Willow Media announcement, by the way, that was me. I did that.
Right.
I had a Bush and an Enzer run into my I was sitting in a VC in the Holy Garden of Hell just chilling, and Bush has permissions to like drag people around, so I get dragged to this other VC, and then Bush and Enzo was sitting there like, Krem, we need your help. I need you to write up this. I'm gonna send you this video, and I need you to write up this tweet for me. Okay? I need you to like create this tweet, and then I need you to post it on Twitter, and I need you to make sure it's pinned, and I need you to make sure there's like a thread with the links and stuff like that. By the way, you know how everyone's switching over to Blue Sky while we're talking about this?
Right.
Right.
Everybody's making the big old move to Blue Sky. Yep.
You can't upload a video that's bigger than 50 megabytes and longer than 60 seconds.
Yeah, their video.
That's
there used to not
unfortunate.
be video at all on Blue Sky like a year ago, and that's why I haven't
Yeah.
really made that. That's why I hadn't made that move really. But
Yeah.
now, of course, they have video support, and I don't upload Twitter videos longer than a minute anyway, so it wouldn't be much issue.
Yeah, that's why, but that's like the reason, by the way, why there's no tweet on fucking Blue Sky about Willow Media.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's done the thing where it's like, nuh-uh. I'm not letting you post this, even though Bush spent like a solid 20 minutes trying to shrink it just for it to be too long.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. On
Yeah.
we've been doing the new thing for the podcast where we will put out like a little, hey, this is what we're doing this episode, yada yada yada. And I was gonna post it on Blue Sky, and Blue Sky just doesn't like video and wouldn't let me verify my account so that I could post it. It gave me the pop-up box and wouldn't let me do anything with it.
Do you know when I found out about
That's
this?
so weird.
I found out about this the Wednesday after that show. And so on my end, I recorded the episode, edited the promo, got Jed a copy of the promo, made sure the episode was uploaded, and that was my bit done. All Jed had to do was drag video file, write one sentence of tweet that links to the episode, and hit post and let me know the post is out and it's good on both platforms. Guess who didn't hear a word about it and was just going about his business as usual?
I put out the post. I put out the post. I made
put
the
it out on
post. It
Twitter?
just didn't have the video. I put it out on both. It didn't have the video on Blue Sky.
Yes, but that's something I would have liked to have known is all. That's something I would have liked to have known. Because, like, and the problem isn't just like, oh, it just never came up. I mentioned, like, man, I'm really glad we're doing these video things for the podcast. It seems like it's really helping, at least over on Twitter. It seems like it's really helping with video performance to have a little, like, hey, come check us out video each podcast recording. And then Jed was like, yeah, it's working out great. Perfect opening. Didn't mention it. Didn't think it was pertinent to the conversation, evidently. I don't get you,
think
Jed.
about it. Because like the issue was that the first time I did post it on Blue Sky, because I still didn't know that everybody was switching to Blue Sky. That was still like fairly new information to me at the time.
Yeah.
And then the second time around, it was far too late. By the time that I could have said anything to you about it or could have been fixed about it, it was like, okay, this post has to get out now, you know?
Yeah, but you could have told me when you posted it. I don't look at, or at the time, I didn't really look at my Blue Sky at all. So it was just like, I don't know what to do about that, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I
But
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know,
really
it's
get
fucking-
notifications for Blue Sky. I get notifications for Willow Media, Blue Sky, and that's about it.
Right. Because like I
Blue
know,
Sky's weird about
Jed
that
always
notification.
Jed always feels bad because like I do most of the stuff for the show, but that's not because I don't trust Jed as much as it's just like I have the recording file on my computer, so it's a lot easier for me to edit it on my computer than upload it to a drive, let Jed download it, and let Jed edit it. And like Jed doesn't have any
You
editing
have like a
experience,
system.
so
You
I'd
have a
have to
system,
teach.
and you stick by the system.
Yeah, the system works.
Like,
The system works when we both do our jobs, but like the system doesn't work when we don't keep each other informed. That's the only problem.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
don't know.
Fair enough.
I feel like
Once
that.
we're
I feel like that video of SpongeBob on the Challenger where he's like, Patrick, did you turn on the cooling systems? And he goes, no, and then it explodes instantly because it's like this was preventable. All I had to do was know that it was happening.
well, the video wasn't preventable. There was nothing that could be done about it. You know?
No, but like you would have prevented me in the next recording that because like if I didn't find out on Wednesday, I would have found out on Thursday when I praised and preached the success of those videos on the show actively. And I'm no stranger to looking like an idiot. I just don't like to look like an idiot unintentionally when I don't mean to.
That's fair. That's fair.
And you would have had me up here looking stupid talking about like, yeah, we posted it on all our socials and it's out and it's great, you know. But no, not quite.
I mean, technically it was posted on the socials, it was just without the video.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
And Blue Sky's weird. We can call it a mulligan and blame Blue Sky for not having proper video support yet. But no, yeah, the big move to Blue Sky's been happening, and that's been a really interesting thing to watch because I remember I haven't made the full jump to Blue Sky personally because
No,
I remember a year
neither have
ago. I remember a year ago when Blue Sky first went public and everybody was like, all right, let's move to Blue Sky. Twitter sucks now. We should move to Blue Sky. Like, that's the alternative, and it works. And then everybody moved to Blue Sky for approximately 24 hours, and then everybody was back on Twitter like nothing happened. With like with the exception of like a small host of people who I know are still exclusively on Blue Sky now. But like that's like 5 of maybe the 500-600 people I follow on Twitter. And that's a thing is just like this time I was like, you guys aren't getting me again. I'm not announcing that I have a Blue Sky and I'm moving over there or anything until I'm absolutely certain that everybody's making that move. I don't mind making that move. I just gotta know, I just gotta be sure before I do.
I didn't necessarily like make the move per se. I just like kind of made a Blue Sky account so I had my username.
Right.
Yeah. I've just been
So
kind
that
of
I could like
cross-posting.
put there. Yeah, that's
Kinda
fine.
just what
I'm just a Twitter person until Twitter goes down. That's like my thing. I'm too used to like all the systems of Twitter and everything like that, and I have like my private account where I tweet stuff and stuff. Which I love seeing the casual voxel private tweets.
Yeah, no,
By
that's
the
the
way.
thing is like I can't write a vent tweet to save my fucking life is the issue.
Vox can't vent in general.
I'll be having a real hard day. Like I had probably the worst day I've ever had in my entire life. Like a couple months ago when I had first gotten my private, and I was like, and the most I could muster about it was like, I'll tweet about it on my private, and then maybe I'll feel a little better to have gotten it off my chest. And like I just started with today was absolutely awful, just the worst day I've ever had. This shit fucking sucks. But it could be worse, and tomorrow will be better. So it's fine. And that's how the tweet ended, was like with like some very hope core stuff about just like, I'll be having a better day tomorrow.
See, the way my private works, right, is like it's my private is where I post some stuff that's going on in my life, and then there's this thing called the private, which is the void. Where essentially I can just it's like harder to find and stuff like that. It's basically there's like two of my most trusted people on there, and there's like 3 people on there that are like my most trusted people, like my homies. Always gonna trust these guys. And it's basically where I can just talk about everything and anything, no matter like what's going on. It's like you can shout it out into the void, and no one will hear you, or sometimes people will hear you, and they'll shoot you a message. But then it's nice to know that like there's someone there for you when you need it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
I don't like to be shot a message. I love that I have friends who will shoot me a message. That's not the problem at all. I don't like to worry people because when I have a really bad day like that, again, it's the problem of I can't maintain a bad mood to save my life. I'll be really like I get really upset in very concentrated stints of like the next hour of my life is going to be just bitching and complaining and being angry at the world. And then I want to make sure I don't say anything out of tune publicly where people can hear it because I don't want to get a message 3 hours from now when I'm over it and I'm fine again and just like, hey, I saw your tweets. Are you okay? And because it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. Because it really isn't that big of a deal at the end of the day. But you know, even when I'm having a real rough time, I'm never like so bad that it's like, oh man, yeah, no, I'm still upset about it. It's been hours, you know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
I feel like
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like for me, it's like sometimes like people will know when I don't want to be disturbed because I normally have my thing on like DNI, like which is like do not interact and stuff like that. Where it's like I'm like in that mood where I just don't want to be bothered. But it's nice to like sometimes be flicked a message to be like, even if it's like not asking if you're okay, just like the simple message of like, I'm here if ever you need to talk about anything. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like knowing there's someone that you can go to instead of having to bottle everything up is like I think the nicest thing you can feel. Because like you don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily talk about it or anything like that, but I feel like no matter what, despite what anyone may think, is you're always gonna have those people that worry about you. Is like that's like the big thing. And you can't really change that because you have friends and all that kind of stuff, and it's like really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, you always have these people that are gonna be there for you, no matter what happens.
To
And it's
Vox's
like
behest. But yeah.
Between
Vox hates
between
it.
Jed
Vox
and my husband
despises
and
it.
everybody else, I have a pretty solid, very close, tight knit support system of people who will come to
by
me.
the way, please do tell your husband I said hello.
I will tell my husband you said hello, but like I have such a tight knit support system where it's like, you know, I have people I can bother if ever the need arises and I need to just like talk about it. I got people I can go to, and if things ever take a really bad turn for me, like socially or financially or anything like that, I have people that I can turn to and go, please help me out. I just need a couple minutes of your time, you know. Like I
Yeah.
have people who will always like lift me up when needed, and it's great to have. It really is. It's a thing that I don't take for granted even a little bit. But like, you know, sometimes a bad day hits, and it's like, man, I just want to be left alone today, because that's the way that's the way I process those kinds of emotions. Is I wander off and I isolate, and then I like clean house for like an hour or two just to like physically get it out of just like, I go scrub the baseboards or fucking the fridge needs cleaning or something, you know. And by the time that's done, you know, it's like, oh, I got a nice clean fridge and I feel a little better and now I'm okay, you know. And
He's
so
just
it's what's up, Joe? No, go
You're
ahead.
just such a stubborn motherfucker sometimes, where it's just like, I shouldn't talk to you about these things because you'll worry too much and I don't want to worry you. And it's like, that's what I do. I'm your friend.
Well, because
I was gonna
Jed
say,
holds
What's
on.
to do?
Jed holds
See, the
on
thing-
is the trouble, because he'll mention it to me 3 weeks later when it's like, oh man, I stubbed my toe today.
It's called
like,
a checkup.
oh yeah, you still thinking about that thing that happened to you 3 weeks
worried
ago?
about you.
And it's like, I don't mind that people are worried, but it's like, you know, 'cause it's just like, oh man, I'm sad. You sad because your grandma died 3 years ago? No, I am now though. You know, that's how it feels. I'm just like, I get a little pissed, just like in like a very small increment of like, God damn it, now I am. You know?
Yeah. But see, like the thing is, like you tell people. I think it's the thing that a lot of people need to learn is that you're gonna have people that worry about you no matter fucking what. It's like the point that you have to accept that people are going to worry about you, because the more I'm horrible for this, by the way. I'm such a hypocrite when I say this, but there are no
Right.
people that worry about you no matter what. And even if you tell them not to worry, it's gonna be like that thing where it's like I'm always good, like they're always gonna be there for you, and they're always gonna worry about you because you're their friend and all that kind of stuff. And it's like I think a lot of people are so big an advocate of like, well, it's not something you need to worry about when it's like, well, I'm your friend, I'm going to fucking worry about you, kind of thing.
Right. I don't know. I feel like I've got a pretty good grip on that. It just like in the moment is just like, man, I don't mind that you worry, but I you know, I don't like to be it's not that I don't like to be bothered about it, but it's just like, man, I don't like being reminded that like I was upset at some point.
Yeah,
I guess is the
like
point.
that's
Like I don't
completely
like
fair.
the fact that that's how people remember me. I guess is just like, you don't remember that I was having a good day yesterday. You remember that I was upset a few days ago about something because you're worried, and that's natural. It's not a bad thing. But like beyond worry, I think I have a pretty good perception personally, and this is a lesson that I will very swiftly deliver to anybody who needs it, and that is that people are always going to perceive you in their own way. There is not
Oh,
one
yeah.
single person on this earth that perceives you in the exact intended way that you put things out. So you should take that and be yourself 1,000% of the time, because like choosing not to be you only hurts you. You know, you should strive to be the best possible, most accurate version of you can at any given moment. And the people who don't like that wouldn't have liked it anyway, you know?
This is
Yeah,
where
you're
Vox and I
always gonna have
differ. I
those
struggle
people.
with that.
Well, the thing is like the way I've always been taught is everyone's an asshole. You just gotta find the good assholes. Is like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like everyone,
Yeah.
there's people who are gonna talk shit about you behind your back. There's people who aren't gonna like you for stuff you've done or anything like that. Like who cares? You go on living your life, and if they want to keep on hating on you and talking about you behind your back, then that's their problem, not yours.
Mhm.
See, it's the fact that I like the thing that I have a lot of trouble with that I'm learning is also okay is that sometimes I won't like people. Sometimes some people are perfectly fine. They haven't done anything wrong to me. You know, they haven't wronged me or
You just
anybody
don't have
else
the
to my
vibes.
knowledge. I just don't vibe with you, and or like even as extreme as I find you vaguely annoying and would not like to hang out with you. I'm not saying you're annoying. I'm not saying that you're like generally annoying and a terrible person or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, I don't vibe, and that's fine. You know?
So you're not gonna vibe with some people, and then like there's some people that I don't vibe with that I'm in like the same friend groups as, and I'm just like we are existing together, and we are doing the things that we want to do, and that's just what's important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
We're just hanging out.
I think it's important that some to just be like cognizant of the fact that like not only are some people not gonna like you, and that's fine, but you're not gonna like certain people, and that's also fine. These are acceptable
Yeah.
thoughts. The thing about it is though, the thing about it on top of that though, is that not only does that happen, but you know, you should really just level in and focus on the people you like who like you back. That should be where most of your mental energy is going. You know, is nurturing those people and caring about their lives and spending as much time with them as possible, because you know, you only get so much. You got to spend it with the people you actually like. You know.
Oh, so you don't hate me? I thought you hated me this whole
Oh no,
time.
I hate you to a vigorous degree, but you know, also keep your
It
enemies
kind of
close.
loops back around. I see.
I like to have the guy
So
that
we've
I
got,
hate the
like-
most in my presence, just so I can cherish the people that I actually like that little bit more.
We've got like the scales here. We've got like Basil on the like care about them the most, and then there's Jed where it's like I hate you so much that I need to keep tabs on you to the point where you can live in my home.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, I don't
two
know.
opposite
Maybe it's
ends
that
of the
I
same scale.
maybe it's that I like suck with emotional vulnerability. I think it's just because I put on a front of just like I'm okay, because most of the time I am okay, and I want to be someone that people can rely on. And so it's like I won't do a private Twitter because it's like I don't know, if I'm having a bad day, I don't want like if somebody else is having a bad day, I want them to come to me about it and not be like, well, they were already having a bad day, and it's like I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Care more
I know
about
I
your
have the
problems.
private and stuff. I know I have the private and stuff, but like I'd rather talk about your problems and help you with your problems than deal with my own.
Oh no, same.
You know?
And that's a big trouble of vulnerability is because like I have this like very deep seated nature of I don't like people to I don't like people to change the way that they behave for me. I don't like it when people are a different guy around me than they would be otherwise, even if that's down to I have a boundary and they're respecting that boundary, and when they otherwise wouldn't like care about it. You know, if I weren't present, it's like I don't know, but I'm slowly like because again that a lot of that stems from, you know, coming up neurodivergent, and a lot of people treat you very differently for those sorts of things, more like they overcompensate in a lot of cases to a patronizing degree. And that's fine, but like, well, that's not fine, but like what's fine is that like also coming to grips with the fact that like, you know, somebody looking over and being able to tell you're having a bad day and going, I have a problem, it can wait. You know, I'm
Mm.
cognizant enough of the issue to know that they're in a worse place than I am, so I don't need to come to them. Is also really good because it's also really good on the basis that, like, you know, it's not people like seeing you any differently or putting you like or like thinking less of you as much as people are trying to accommodate for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's more than okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, 100%. It's like you have these boundaries and you have these things. Like for example, I don't like talking about certain topics in VCs, and people know that, and they've like respected my boundaries. And like sometimes I have to remind people like I don't like talking about this certain topic and everything like that. But it's like making sure I think everyone is comfortable with everything is like my top priority. Like that's like my thing with the Holy Garden of Hell. Like I've always said this: if you ever get uncomfortable with anyone on the server, just like DM me or anything, and I'll help you
Oh,
with it.
okay. I don't like to handle this kind of thing publicly. Actually, I do. I have a very urgent need to, like, Jed makes me, like, deeply upset and uncomfortable.
Vox made me
Ryan.
upset
If you could
first.
get him out
He
of here.
did it first.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get
He
you
did
out of this
first.
server. You fuck.
No, he was there first, and that's
gonna-
the problem first, and he should be removed first. I'm better anyway. I'm a cool
I was
friend.
here first. I was here first.
What?
I thought
You
this
got
was
rat
gonna be
friends?
some
You have
genuine
robot friends?
shit, but no, it's just
No.
you.
No, I would
no
never.
way we're gonna air
for
things
the
publicly
record,
like that.
for the record, I would never in a public sphere, if I was having an issue
Oh, yeah,
with
no.
someone that hadn't
No,
been like brought up
definitely not.
privately, go like, "Hey, by the way, fuck that
That's the
guy."
most
You know,
unprofessional thing. Yeah.
that's such like when I see people do that, I lose a decent chunk of respect for them as people. Of just like, you should come to the person you're talking
Yeah.
about first. Like, you should handle this
Yeah.
stuff. Like, my personal belief, and like people have their own thoughts on it, of course, but my personal belief is that, like, when you have the opportunity to handle something like this, the most tactful way you can do it is in private with the people involved, and then beyond that, unless it's relevant, keep it to yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just where I sit with
See,
that.
the thing about like the culture of today is like a lot of Twitter relies on cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like the biggest thing I think for me is like online, like you'll see a doc posted about someone every day, and then it's like that person's profile views will shoot and they'll get all this attraction and stuff, because that's like a lot that like a lot of people on the internet care about is like that kind of cancel culture. It really sucks. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
trouble, is that, like, see, people are nice. Or like, a person is nice. A person can be nice. People are mean, is the problem.
Mhm.
You get enough people together, the conversation is going to shift toward negativity very fast. People go into a cult mentality, and I'm sure each one of the people involved in that cult mentality is a fine guy who, on a personal level, can be communicated with to a reasonable degree. It's just the unreasonable among them get very loud very fast, and the rest fall in line. You know? And so
Yeah.
it's a big problem in public spaces like Twitter, where, like, you know, this is the world stage, and it's evil. You know, it's used mostly to tear each other apart, and it's like, I don't know. That's kind of partially my mentality of why I prefer hanging out in a Discord than being on Twitter most of the time. Like, if I want to have an
Yeah.
actual talk about something, if I like, whether it's even just like a little silly fandom thing or whatever, I like to go to Discord and hang out with friends and talk about it, rather than like go on Twitter and go, I really like this thing, because the only thing that'll get you is negativity in most cases, and it sucks. But, you know, that's the
Yeah.
importance of a support system, I guess, having people you can turn to have conversations with. You know?
Yeah, that's why I love some of the channels in like Holy Garden of Hell. Because like there's this literal whole section that's literally just for all the fandoms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got Epic the Musical, Sonic, My Hero Academia, all that kind of stuff, and then people have a request for anything fandom wise, and I'll just pop it in there, and then they can brain rot to their heart's content about certain things.
The Luby
Yeah.
Transformers corner.
I think
I can't help
check
but
in
think
on that
about that.
occasionally. I check in on that occasionally. I don't think there's a single one in there that I'm like interested in. I think that's
I
really
check in
funny.
on my relative, like, my, like, fandoms of interest in there occasionally, the couple that exist, and then, you know, if a fun conversation is happening, I'll Like, I'll chime in. There is nothing more embarrassing than going to an inactive Discord channel and going like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is really cool, huh? Let's have a conversation about this," and then just hearing nothing back ever. It's such a
Yeah.
sad thing. A lot of the times I'll delete the message if it sits there for more than a day of just like the next person to open this channel to start a conversation about this is gonna see that and like this message from months ago that never got responded to. And that's like an exaggeration, of course. But you know, it's the Holy Garden is a very fun space, by the way. It's a very good space. I wish that like I wish it were a little more navigable, but with a server of so many channels where all the channels are necessary to some degree or useful to some degree, it's like, what can you do, really? They're categorized, and that's the best you can do. I just have my
Oh yeah, I have to like organize
Discord.
it. I do have to go through and organize it and stuff at some point as well.
If you could put the fandoms in alphabetical order, that would be fantastic.
Alphabetical order.
Or some sort of ordering system so that it's just like, oh yeah, you know, go to the Transformers channel. Okay, it's next to like this and that. I would have never guessed. There it is. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, I really appreciate that space as a group. And I really appreciate being involved there, you know? And being able to exist over there, because it's such like a wide group of like there are folks in the Holy Garden I haven't even like spoken to ever, and so it's like so fun to run into them. It's so fun to run into them. In fact, funny interaction happened the other day that my husband was in on because he's my eyes and ears over there when I can't be around because he's constantly just chilling in one of the VCs somewhere. And there was this interaction between two people that I had not ever even heard their names before. And one of them was just like, oh yeah, I think Voxel had something to do with that. And it's like, who the hell's Voxel? It's like, oh, the rat guy. And they're like, oh, I know the rat guy. You know? And so it's just like, oh, cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was originally made, so you know who could interact with everyone again.
Right.
Because like we made this whole chat, and then it was too big for everyone, and then everyone just like started coming in when they got more comfortable after everything had happened, and it's all just like a chill place now. We chill, we hang out, we do watch parties. Like I think we literally watched the entirety of a Netflix show called You in there.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I saw that going on.
Yeah, it was the nicest thing for me because it was like we could just hang out and just do whatever and just, you know, spend time. It's just like quality time that you sometimes don't get because you're just like doing whatever else behind the screen.
That's great. But speaking of things that you won't get while you're doing other things behind the screen, you won't get any more of this show this week.
We're dying right now. All of us.
Yeah. No, we've all come down with a horrible contagion. Yeah. But no, Crim, what do you do?
Because I'm going into a zombie apocalypse world on Monday for me. So this works. This works. Yeah, I'm going into a zombie apocalypse, guys. You'll never see me again. It's great. No. Hi guys. When my computer's nice to me and when my Wi-Fi is nice to me, I stream over on Twitch.tv. If not, I'm just posting cool art on the internet or spending money on my friends.
Awesome. We'll have your socials. We'll have your socials linked down below, along with our the socials of me and Jed, our lovely hosts. And I'll see. This show comes out every Sunday at 3 p.m. It premieres on YouTube, so you can watch it live and interact in the live chat if that's your dig. Or if you prefer to watch it, you know, in the car on the way to work or whatever, we also have it over on Spotify where it's available. It's Vox and Jed fight about it. It's easy. It's an easy search. It's an easy find. Go out and check out the episodes. We've got like a good 20 or more of those, so go check those out, and we'll have another one for you next Sunday. So thanks for joining us on this episode. Yippee! I didn't mean to do that.